World War I started in 1914 and ended in 1918 for the Americans. Daily life in World War I was hard for some Americans. They had to spend money and time to help out the troops in the war. Farmers had to use and give up their food to give to the troops. So after the war ended, some farmers were in debt. The war mainly started by the destroying of the British liner by the German submarine, killing 128 Americans. That got the Americans mad, so we joined the war. One thing that actually started the war is nationalism. It is where a certain country celebrates a certain religion. It was the leading cause of war in European countries. Another reason is the war started and we joined. The life in World War I was hard.
There was also a lot of problems during World War I. One of those problems was once the war started and we joined, mostly all the men went to the war. Since most of the men were gone to the war, the U.S. had to have women and African Americans work at men's jobs, or jobs that African Americans don't get the right to do. The women impressed a lot of people in their outstanding work effort. People started to look at women as good workers. Also, since a lot of people went to the war, Americans had to work a lot of time. They had to do that because most were filling in for the people in the war. This was bad for Americans because they were stuck working and did not have time to do other things. The war needed tons of things like guns, food, and other things. Americans had to supply all those things like farmers had to grow crops, then their crops were sent to the war. The U.S. sent the most goods for the soldiers than any country. There were many problems in World War I.
Would it be sad if someone in your family went to war and died? That's what people that did have family members in the war had to deal with. Also, if you say war started by selling guns and you wanted to supply for the war, then the war ended and you had to switch back. You would have to clean out your stock of guns, then you would have to buy the new item you were going to sell. I think that had to cost a lot of money to do that. Not all impacts are hard in World War I. I feel that World War I World War I was hard on other countries because everybody was working overseas. Daily life in World War I was hard, not just hard on us, but on other people in other countries too. There were not only bad things that came out of the war, there were good things. Like women got looked up as good workers, and so did African Americans too.